Welcome to this week's episode of That's Life. I'm Bob.
I'm Jen.
And we'll get started. How you doing, hon?
I'm okay. Sunday, Labor Day weekend.
And what a week it has been.
Oof. It's been a long week.
It has. I think I'll get the ball rolling here. It's been kind of crazy. Los Angeles, where we are, and we moved out here
August 2012.
Wow. So it's almost 4 years now, right?
No, we just rolled over 3.
Just to roll over 3. Okay. It feels like
we
forever.
don't do math, clearly.
Not math. Feels like a long time, but I love being out here. I love the weather. I love the culture. You know, the jobs that you and I are in are, you know, it makes it necessary to be out here. But there are definitely cultural differences.
Most assuredly.
And for you, being a young woman from the South, then going to going up to
the Northeast,
coming up to New York, New Jersey,
for 15, 20 years. Yep.
And now moving out here, you must feel it even more so. No, yeah.
We are no longer in Kansas, Toto.
We were never in Kansas.
You get what I mean.
But one of the things that, and it's interesting because I brought this. I've had this conversation before, but now after this week that we've had, I've mentioned it again, and it seems to be an anomaly that started after the O.J. Simpson white Bronco chase, where anytime someone is in a vehicle and on the run from the law, news helicopters follow this thing.
Well, police helicopters do as well, but the
helicopters
news
do.
now are jumping onto it.
Right, and
it's
it goes
Insta news.
It's
when there's
Insta
nothing
news,
going
and it
on.
goes right onto television live. You will be watching the news in the morning, and they will break away from the news to go to, hey, we've got on camera live a vehicle being stolen in a chase, and cops go after it, and it will. They will not.
You stayed awake late at night to see how that ends up. Sometimes, by the way,
it is completely addictive in the most morbid fashion, because you're watching it going, what's going to happen? Is this guy going to careen into someone? Is he going to jump out? Is he going to be shot? Am I going to watch someone be murdered live on television? And that's certainly not something I seek out, but I guess the base savage animal part of my brain is just incredibly curious. And
well, I think because if you're not in that culture, you didn't grow up seeing anything like that, it's not the norm for you. It's this kind of fascination where you're like, is this like really, is this happening right now? Like you're trying to convince yourself like, yes, this is normal. I'm not seeing a movie. This is actually happening right now.
And I don't know that it happens in anywhere else in the country. I never experienced it. Granted, congestion is so bad in the Northeast. Car chases are almost non-existent. It's not like you're going to go anywhere very far.
Yeah, the only time you see cars filmed in the South is when they're sliding on snow and ice during the winter.
Yeah,
that's
right.
You know what I mean? That's when they film.
Yeah,
roads in the
cars
South.
just sliding off into the median. But out here, it's and I noticed it immediately after we moved out here because I started seeing it pop up on the television frequently. Sure. And like I said, it's I think only in Los Angeles. And when I've mentioned this to people who have been here a long time, possibly forever, they all say that it was definitely the O.J. Simpson
kickoff
chase. Yeah, that started the whole, we've got to follow this because you never know. You never know what's the instant drama. Who's in the car? Who stole the car? Why did they steal the car? Is there someone being held captive in the car? Is it a celebrity? All of these things come into play.
Eye roll.
Yeah, I mean, all these things come into play, and it's extremely captivating. It's you're watching from afar a chase sequence that you see in action movies that people pay, $10 a pop to go in the movie theater. So it's that sort of thing. Well, was it Wednesday? I guess it was Wednesday.
It was Wednesday. By the way, you haven't. This is for a lot of or all of our family. If they're listening today, this is the first time they will have heard this. So heads up.
Well, yeah,
everyone's okay.
This is a story that I chose not to share with people.
At least on social media.
There are very, very, very few people that I've expressed because I didn't feel like having this conversation.
At least until today.
Until today, yeah, and hopefully, although unavoidably, I'm sure I'll be having this conversation again.
Let's hope never
But hopefully,
again. But anyway,
you can listen to it, and then I don't have
we've
to
built
have
it up enough. Blurt it out.
Yeah. So Wednesday morning, I'm actually working at the computer, and all of a sudden, a little tweet comes across CBS television, live chase in progress. And so I hit the link, and that's how easy it is. Hit the link, goes right to CBS on their live feed, and I'm watching this car way out in San Fernando Valley. It's like a 4x4 chase, goes off road. The guy then he blows the tires out, comes off like he's driving, gets off the main road through a gate, drives across railroad tracks, blows out his tires, jumps out of the car, grounds it, can't go anymore, runs off into the woods and down into a drainage ditch. And you watch the whole thing from a helicopter, and then you show the police are coming in and what's going on. And I sat there and I probably watched this stupid thing for 5-10 minutes and got on along my day. Went to go pick up Jackson from school, and we were going to go to...
We were going to get a haircut.
We were going to go get a haircut. So I pick him up, and we're heading to El Segundo. And
just south of the airport.
Just south of the airport, right on Lincoln.
For those of you that don't know what El Segundo is.
And out here, there are these highways in Los Angeles. There's 4... it's certainly on the west side, 3, 4, that sort of interconnect. And so you typically, there are opportunities to jump off these things sporadically.
And by the way, anyone at any given opportunity wants to jump off the 405.
Yeah. Yeah, almost assuredly. So we're in El Segundo, and Jackson and I are, I would say, half a mile from our destination. And he's in the back seat, I'm in the front, and I'm 3 or 4 cars behind a red light. I hear sirens.
And no one's moving, you're stopped at the red light.
No one's moving. And you hear sirens, and people, I have to say this about Los Angeles in a way that I never noticed as much in New Jersey or New York. When people hear sirens or emergency vehicles, drivers out here, as quickly and as safely as possible, pull off to the side of the road.
They are very courteous to our emergency staff. I agree, and services. Absolutely.
That said, I've really had to get better at it as well. And really, because that was not a part of my thing. Usually you'd stay still and let it drive around you.
You might creep along over to the side, but you wouldn't stop. But people here pull over and stop and just wait.
The parting of the Red Seas. It's quite impressive, and for
Given
that,
I
applaud the people of LA. So, in this particular situation, it's 4 lanes of traffic. I'm in the left-hand lane, the go lane, and
there's 4 lanes on your side. There's 3 or 4 lanes in the opposite direction too, right? So it's a 6-lane road at this point.
Yeah, and it's not a major. This isn't a highway. This is many traffic lights. It's not an interstate.
It's a state highway.
So. I start to hear these sirens, and I look across, and in the oncoming lane coming towards me, a car blows. He's in a far turn lane on his right hand side, blows right through the light, and I could just tell, based on the way traffic was going, that he had blown through a red light on his side, and there was. And I'm hearing all these sirens, and 2 thoughts go through my head. Either one, it's an unmarked emergency vehicle, and he just doesn't I can't see his emergency lights, which happens from time to time. or 2, it's a guy in a stolen car. And
it's a criminal. Bad guy. As
guy.
Jackson says.
Bad guy. So, and this guy blows through, and moments after, seconds after, 2 police cars, 2 chips, as I grew up watching.
Motorcyclists
come tearing through. And it's very fast, right past me. And so I'm waiting for the light to turn green, and I look down, just happen to glance down into my side mirror, and this guy has stopped. And he throws the car, and all of a sudden his reverse lights go on. And he throws his car into reverse. And I'm looking at this thing, and he's coming straight at me. And I'm trying to... One, I can't believe... I don't understand why. Why
would you go in reverse? You're the bad guy.
I don't know. I can't...
This is very Iron Man of him.
It's nuts. There's no place for me really to go. And even though I replay it over and over and over again in my head, what I should have done, I didn't do much of anything. I thought about a couple of different things. He came
Did you say anything?
I want to say it happened so fast, Jen. I want to say I told Jen or told Jackson, hang on, or what's this guy doing? I'm sure I said something along those lines. What the hell? Before there was much conversation, this guy came careening, just like I saw. By the luck of God, he was moving. He must have had that car going in reverse probably 45, 50 miles an hour. Enough that if he had hit me at that rate of speed, I probably wouldn't be having this conversation with you right now. Yeah. That's safe to say. Thank goodness there happens to be these, and I'm the first one to say, why do we have these curbside medians? What could they possibly do? Well, in many ways, I think maybe this curbside median saved my life. Definitely saved Jackson's life. This guy comes careening over it, hits it, pops up over it, and he does hit our car. But the curbside median had slowed his rate of speed down
considerably,
so much that that the damage he had. I mean, we took the hit. I will commend the good people of Toyota that they created a vehicle that could take a solid hit and absorb the impact. I mean, we lurched forward about looked to be about 3 feet.
Yep.
But took the impact pretty well, and we were all okay. I mean, like, we were crazy okay. Jackson was perfectly fine. I was perfectly fine. So after it happens, immediately, then the next thing you go through your head is, well, the strangest thing on earth just happened. Now what follows? What happens next? Well, this guy jumps out of the car.
Because his car is not working anymore.
And takes off right across the road into like a little strip shopping mall. So this happens, and right in my view, police officer running, guns drawn, and scared. Absolutely.
Sure. You got
totally
guys
frightening.
running around with guns.
Guys running around with guns.
But the bad guy didn't have a gun, right?
He's just
taking off.
Well,
that you know.
Hauling ass, as they say.
He was running.
He was running.
He could have had a gun, but he didn't have one.
Had he not, I'll put it to you like this. Had he not gone into a life of crime, he probably would have been an amazing long-distance runner. He was moving so quickly. And I know the big, they always tell you when you're in an accident, you don't move. You leave the car exactly where it was, where it happened, and you don't go anywhere. Well, let's see. I had police running around with guns.
Bad guys.
Helicopters flying, swarming
spinning.
the scene. I mean, it was being in the middle of an action picture, and when you think that that's fun, I assure you,
not being union or paid.
It's not fun. It's not fun when you're doing it on set. In real life, where you don't get to go to the craft table.
Nope,
it's not fun at all. So I did not stay at the intersection. As soon as the light gave me the opportunity, I pulled off and got us to a safe little pocket, and a lovely woman
Good Samaritan
who was behind me, followed us over, saw where I was going, followed us over, wanted to make sure we were okay, that we were safe, wanted to stay with us
to give her a statement,
give her a statement, and then wait for the police to come address us. And I knew the police had their hands busy. I knew they would get to me when they would get to me. And so I called the El Segundo police, and I just said, look, there's a lot going on. I'm a victim that got hit. You can find me over, at
this location.
So sure enough, 2 policemen came over on their motorcycles, and very nice gentlemen gave our statements. One actually was so great that he, and I'll pop this up on the website. You can take a look at it. He let Jackson sit on his motorcycle and raise and lower the glass and turn the lights on.
For those of you that know Jackson, he is a button pusher, so this was exciting for Jackson to let all those buttons do the stuff.
And it alleviated a lot of stress.
Sure.
Although I got to tell you this. After you get into an incident like that, and I have a terrible memory. Jen will vouch for it. Anyone who knows me knows.
Horrible.
I have a terrible, terrible memory. I have to tell you that after an incident like this, and I was shook. And I consider myself someone who doesn't get shook that often.
Never.
Okay, thank you.
Never.
Makes me feel good.
Yeah.
I was shook to the point that when the officer asked me, of the questions he was going to ask me, my age was not one that I thought was going to come up. He asked me my age, and it took a second.
Wow.
Oh, yeah. Which doesn't... Then I feel like if I can't come up with my age, he's going to think I'm somehow guilty. Because
you're a part of something you shouldn't be.
I do not have a great track record with police and being at the wrong place at the wrong time.
Now, hang on. Let's not make it sound like you're a criminal.
No, not at all. I just, and most of these happen.
You just get yourself into fixes because you don't really say the right thing because you have no memory and you don't think.
Pretty much.
That reminds me, we should tell another story sometime, but not for today.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So that gave our statement. Come to find out, this guy stole this vehicle in downtown Los Angeles. Now, if you know L.A., downtown to El Segundo.
God, it could be an hour drive with traffic.
On a
Wednesday afternoon.
3 o'clock, figure that. So that was not a short ride. He was moving for a good long clip.
Yep. They were after him.
Probably was the 105. Didn't know where. You don't want to get on the 405 because that's not going to move at all. So he dumped out in El Segundo. Had I waited to let Jackson have a drink of water at his school, tied his shoe, stopped to get gas, any of those things, I wouldn't have been there at that time. And the thing that I think really...
Well, I think we should mention there is video footage of this, and CBS put it up because there was a thing. So you got to watch it over and over that night.
Probably not healthy.
No, it wasn't healthy at all, but you kept watching it.
I did keep watching, and that's true, and I'm glad you mentioned. So I'm sitting here that night, and Jen, you came out to the scene of the crime.
Yeah, I get a text because we can't connect, which is really weird. I'm sitting at my desk, and I'm plowing through just stuff, I say it in a good way, but lots of good crap going on. And I'm just like, got a list of to do a mile long at work, plowed down, and Bob's calling. And I'm like, yeah, what? And I can't hear him. And so then we try calling again. Yes, what? Can't hear. And I'm getting frustrated. This is terrible. I'm getting frustrated. I don't know why he's calling. And I'm like, ugh, what? You want to know what's for dinner? Like, I don't care. Fix whatever you want. Bob's a great cook, but I don't care. Just do it. And then I get this text because then I tried calling him, by the way. I did try calling him. Still, I would hear him pick up and then nothing was there. And I was like, what is going on? Major problems. I get a text of call me, period, 911. And I'm like, I'm sorry, what? And then he's like, we've been in an accident. Come to Sepulveda and Grand in El Segundo. And I literally dropped everything, told everyone, like, I'm out till further notice. Boom. My colleagues, my work folks are great because they just took care of everything. But I mean, yeah. And I really wasn't, at that point, we were having such a hard time connecting. We never really talked. I was getting closer or whatever, and I wasn't even sure what I was going to find. I didn't know if there were ambulances. I didn't know anything. He said, though, we're both fine. So I did get that. But for all I know, that means like it's not life-threatening, but they're still going to a hospital. I mean, and I didn't know like at what point you were texting me. Was it like right after it happened? Right. You know, when is this? So yeah, it was pretty frightening till we all got together.
Well, the way the car had been damaged, it got hit in the rear corner, right by the
driver's side
rear corner,
where your gas tank might be if it were back there.
But that's by the gas tank, and but it also bent. I'm still waiting to hear what the official damage report is on this vehicle, but the wheel itself had been turned in. So that being,
I'm betting total. Well, I think they'll say it's total because of the frame, but I could be wrong.
But anyway, it got taken away on a flatbed, and we decided to have a nice family dinner that night
with
and
cocktails,
appreciate each other's company. And
Bob looked at me and goes, "I'm having a drink tonight." Bob doesn't do that ever, but I knew then he needed to
a little unwind,
shake off, a little stress.
So we're sitting home that night, and after the fact. And I think I'm replaying all the events that led up to that in my head. And I think about the fact that I was watching that car chase earlier in the day. And I just think, I guarantee you that this was on television. Because I don't think any of these occur without them being on television. I just think it's an LA thing. So
right, you at least have it in the can.
Exactly. So I punch into Google, the good people at Google, El Segundo pursuit. First search.
Oh, and it also mentions reverse in the line.
Oh yeah, first search. It's CBS News out here, and the video feed, and it's got the from the moment he throws the car in reverse, coming up over the curb, hitting us, and chasing off on foot. Yeah. I mean, it's about.
I think it says like El Segundo police chase reverse collision.
Yeah,
that's what it says.
So I'll put that up there too if you want to check that out. For however long they'll have it available on their site. But I watched the thing, and I watched the thing over and over. I can see Jackson was wearing this turquoise shirt, and I can see.
He said you could see his shirt. Yeah, I didn't believe that, but you can. Oh, wow.
From the helicopter, I can see Jackson sitting in the back seat of the car. I look at that left-hand turn lane, and I'm going, I should have pulled out. As soon as I saw this guy coming back, if I had just turned that wheel hard to the left, jammed on the accelerator, I could have pulled out. I don't know exactly, I might have gotten hit by someone doing something similar to that. That's always a possibility. But you play this stuff over and over again. And that night was extraordinarily restless to me. I got to bed. And
2 a.m. You came to bed at 2.
Came to bed at 2 and probably didn't sleep until maybe 4, if then. Certainly not a sound sleep that night. And as a parent, it would have been one thing if it were just me.
Sure.
I probably would have slept just fine because it's just me.
Yeah.
But when it's your kid and you have, or at least in my mind, you've brought them into the world, you owe it to them to keep them here as long as you possibly can. And you get into a situation like this, what could I have done differently? I did kid about with him the next day that that one more incident like that, and I won't require him to get haircuts anymore.
Which, by the way, Jackson was leveraging that already. Like, I don't think I should get a haircut ever. Nope, not an option.
And And I walked him to school the next day, and we talked about it. But you know what? The truth be told, I needed to talk about it more than he needed to talk about it.
Oh, yeah, he was fine.
He was totally okay.
Yeah.
By the time he didn't really see it happening, he got knocked when we got hit. He tried to process it.
Though.
We both, of course, yeah, absolutely. We had our seatbelts on. He got knocked when we got hit. We pulled over. It was exciting for him to be the subject of some attention with the police officers and some of the witnesses.
But those officers are smart to kind of deflect any stress by, because I think, didn't the officers say something to Jackson along the lines of, it's been a pretty bad day, hadn't it?
Yeah.
And I mean, and Jackson's like, and he was like, you want to,
yeah,
sit on my motorcycle.
No, the police were fantastic. I'll thank them again. They were absolutely great, and they took a lot of the pressure off the situation. And Jackson was a champ.
He's cool as a cucumber.
Cool as a cucumber. Liked chatting up with everyone. It was hard. He was so kind of excited by the attention. It was hard. I was trying because there's all this nonsense busy work at the scene of the crime, organizing all this stuff. That I'm like, Jackson, look, you got schoolwork.
Can you just sit and do
sit
your
in the
homework?
car and try to, if you could do your work, that'd be great. So no, he's great. So we were walking to school the next day, and I start talking about it, and I said to him, "Do you want to go get your?" You try to
trying to plan your day,
try to get back to life again, right? So I said to him, "I go, you want to go get." Do you want to go get a haircut today? He's like, yeah. And again, it's me. It's not him. I said, are you sure? Are you nervous at all about...
Way to project, Dad.
I know. And it was everything that I goof on. I was
You're
doing
not
it
supposed
all
to do.
Wrong. I was doing it all wrong.
Awesome.
But he's so cool. And I think kids in general are like that. I said, are you sure? He's nervous. And he went, no. Are you? And I said, well, it's a little nerve-wracking. I mean, I don't think we have anything to be afraid of. I did say that, though, if, at the end of the day when I picked him up, we talked a little bit. And I said, now, but here's the thing, Jackson. If that happens again today, your mom and myself and you and the dogs are going to find a lovely piece of property in the middle of like Northwest Canada
or Montana or someplace.
Side of a mountain.
That's right.
And I'm not going to have anything to do with the rest of society forever. And we'll
just so you know,
we'll grow. Yeah, it'll be a beautiful little compound. We're going to grow our own vegetables that we'll eat. You'll be homeschooled, and that'll be that. It'll be lovely. But yeah, so that's what the week has been.
Yeah, and we're thankful. I think.
No,
and of course,
yeah.
and whatever you believe in, whatever entity you believe in, or maybe you just believe in coincidence if you don't believe in a higher power. But if you believe in, for us, we believe in God or whatever. So if you say I think God did that, everything like it was posted. Like if you had moved out, that guy's car could have hit the car next to you to the right of you harder. I mean, who knows? I don't know. But, anything could have happened. So... Yeah. You do feel like the grace of whatever your higher power is looking after you. And hate to say it in this way. I mean, I'm glad I'm saying it, but it wasn't your time. So guess what? You got more crap to do on this earth before you're done. Your race isn't run.
Never ends.
Nope. Having said that, though, you just made me think, like, you're talking about moving somewhere. Do you think into 2015, and I know this is true, but like, honest to goodness, could you live off the land in some remote place and not pay taxes and not have a job and be able to sustain yourself like Little House on the Prairie style?
Well, yeah. Isn't that what the Amish do?
No. I still think they pay taxes and they have to do stuff.
Do the Amish pay taxes?
That's a good question.
I don't think they do.
Really?
Yeah.
That's not fair. I want to be Amish.
Well, I don't think Native Americans pay taxes either, do they?
Well, that's different. They paid their tax.
Is it?
Yes.
Oh, because we screwed
Yes.
Them.
Yeah. Yes. I think there's a difference between the Amish and the Native Americans.
You raise a good point.
Anyway.
But I think Amish and I don't know what the Mennonite deal is, and I know they're different. I don't need any angry letters.
Quakers, Mennonites, Amish.
But I don't...
Moravians.
Witches.
No.
I don't... I don't specifically know what the rules are. But could you do it? I joke about it. I would... A lot of it I would love.
Did you just say I would love to? You know what? There ought to be like month-long camps that families could go do, and you give them a house on like a plot of land, and that is what they do for a month.
Yeah, you do that.
It's like wilderness camp for the entire family, not for wayward juveniles.
You would do that to punish your children.
Or your spouse. Like, see, I can tell you right now, every woman, as hard as that would be, she would want to make her family go through that to know how good they have it, and so that they would work harder.
Right, but when you have to remind someone how good they have it, what you're doing is, in effect, punishing them. They've done something wrong, and therefore they don't appreciate
Guess
the things
what,
they
Bob
have.
Barth? You do things wrong every day in this marriage, and then in this like distribution. By the way, yesterday morning, I got up. Bob had a late night party with some of his AFI colleagues on Friday night.
Yeah.
So I let him sleep in. Usually we split the tasks of feeding the dogs and walking them at 6 a.m. because the dogs always wake up at 6 a.m. But especially Brody, 90 pounds of puppy, wants to eat when he wants to eat. Anyway, I got up. I did everything. I was tootling around and kind of doing stuff in the living room. I was letting Bob snooze. And then...
Very nice. I appreciate that.
I was tidying up. I think I did some laundry. Just this and that, but puttering around the house pretty much all the morning while Bob and Jackson watched yet another James Bond movie together, which was good father-son bonding time. Mm-hmm. And I got ready to go to my exercise class. And I was leaving a little bit early because we've got a wedding coming up. And so I was going to do a little shopping, trying to find suit accoutrement for Jackson. He needs some more stuff to outfit him for this wedding coming up. At any rate, so I was leaving early, and I give them a list of things to do. And it's not a lot. I was like, you need to take out the recycling and the trash, Bob. And if you don't mind, could you work on the load of magazines on our coffee table because Brody keeps knocking them off with his tail. Mm-hmm. It's like we're hoarding in a doctor's office. Then I said, if you got to it, there's like a nice stack of magazines in your office that you ought to go through. And by stack, I mean probably a foot of magazines I'm looking at right now. So at any rate, I kind of said that.
A little less than a foot.
And I think I said maybe like run the dishwasher. I don't know. I gave you just 3 or 4 things. It wasn't that bad. And literally.
I did them.
Some of them. But what made me laugh is like Bob looked at Jackson and he's kind of joking, but he's kind of not. And he's like, why is she so mean? I think you did. And you guys were then goofing on me. And because you guys think that it's just happens around you. And, we're supposed to give you a parade if you like wipe the counter or something.
Yes, I would appreciate a parade whenever I wipe the counter. Whenever I do anything that I don't want to do,
you should get a parade.
I would appreciate a parade as.
Do you know how many parades moms would get?
I'm not taking anything away from them.
Because, it's not like we love doing it. It's not like we want to do it.
No one wants to do it.
Exactly. So why should all the things no one wants to do fall on one person in the family?
I do all kinds of things that you don't want to do or don't have time to do.
Well, it's mostly I don't have time to do. But what things do you do? Let's make a list.
I do most of the cooking.
You are doing most of the cooking right now. That is true. But I like to cook. I just don't have time. We would eat so late if I came home and started cooking.
Yeah, no one has time for that.
Nope.
So I do that. I do laundry.
You do your laundry.
Well, I used to do.
But you know what you do?
And I've been told not to.
Well, yeah, because you screwed. Well, you could do Jackson's. But what you do is after I do the laundry and I put it in the chair and I say, please fold it. 4 days later, you will eventually getting around to maybe thinking about folding it. It's always folded within 2 weeks of having it sat in the chair, unless I'm not running an experiment.
What more could you ask for?
I do run experiments from time to time. I'm like, I could do this, and it bothers me every day, but I want to see how long it'll take him to do it unrequested. It's a long time.
Hey, look, I could put the same amount of pressure on you and the dining room table piles.
True.
There have been many times I thought, if I bagged all this crap up and threw it into the trash compactor, not only would she not know, she'd come back and go, oh, things look all right. Yeah.
Except I'd be looking for that bill or that form for the school.
Yeah.
There's
Gone.
so much crap.
So much.
Schools and mail, they just create the crap.
So if we could stop both of those things.
We'd like to stop you at... Well, listen. The way our mail service is out here, I'd soon the mail stop. It's pathetic.
Mail is terrible.
It's terrible when you have to have like a homeowners meeting, which we don't get to go to, but homeowners meetings on the mail service, on the poor mail service in our area.
Yeah. No, my favorite was we were away for a week this summer, and I put. It used to be it's a simple process, and it
is such.
It's
still.
very simple. You go onto the computer, you tell them I'd like a mail hold, right? That way I don't have to inconvenience a neighbor. They hold the mail for a week. On the set day, they deliver it, and you hit the button. And what's neat about our mail, our local mail here, is that you set that all up, and you hit the button, and they ignore it entirely.
They ignore it entirely. And the only reason we know that is that this last time, Bob went to get the mail the morning we left, really early, like at 5:30 in the morning. And he comes back, and we're trying to get out of here before rush hour traffic hits, which is hard in LA because rush hour is random. But we're trying to get out before morning traffic. And he goes, the key is stuck in the box. Well, we knew the lock was getting tougher. And I was like, no way. So he tried and tried. He was afraid he was going to break it off. So we left it. Then a neighbor texted us and was like, y'all's key is in your box. We're like, yeah, it's stuck. And he goes, well, I said, but we were getting our mail held, so it shouldn't be a big deal. He goes, well, I'll check it. Just to make sure. I actually have the proven text from our neighbor, Sean, that say, your mail keeps coming, and yes, the slip is in the box saying, hold the mail as of the date you requested, and they just ignore it and keep delivering the mail.
Unbelievable. It's
classic.
I don't know what the assumption is that...
I want to know what the criteria is to get a job, because evidently no skills are needed. To do that. Anyway.
I could go on. I just don't feel like being firebombed by the United States.
I know. Well, and some things are good. We used to have a great mailman in New Jersey. He was lovely. Had 4 kids. I became friends with him. We all loved him.
Frightening.
He was terrific. Yeah. Anyway, it's tough. It's tough all over.
It's tough, yeah. But then, so now that was my crazy week. You've got a crazy week coming up.
I got a crazy week coming up. For those of you that don't know, I'm a former Miss America contestant, and I represented the great Tar Heel State, North Carolina, in 1991. And so next year will be my 25th anniversary. This is my 24th anniversary.
I don't think you want to give it away like that, do you?
Well, yes, because of what I'm going to be talking about next. So at any rate, I don't go back that often. I've been back.
You don't?
No.
Come on.
I really don't. And
I've been to several of them.
Yeah, well, that was when they were in Las Vegas, and they were like...
in Las Vegas.
Yeah, which they're not there anymore.
Right.
And we went...
By the way, that's a shame. Because not only is it convenient, Las Vegas is nice.
Atlantic City, not so much.
Atlantic City. I don't know what we're trying to continue to prove down there. It's
pitiful.
Awful.
It's pitiful.
It's awful.
I really feel bad for him. But I'll tell you the other nice thing though, and you're right on the pro side of Vegas. But the problem is there's so much in Vegas, the celebration and actually making Miss America, the entire event, feel special there. It's hard because Marie and Donnie are special, and David Copperfield is special,
so you want to be the
Great Wallenga is special.
Special to me. You want to be the only game in town
for that week? Hell yes.
So you decide to go to a dump.
No.
It is a dump. And yeah, you're going to be the shiny rock amidst a pile of crap.
No. The reason it's in Atlantic City, because that's where it originated.
But look,
I mean, I get your point, but let's not argue this point, because you're just going to get in two separate camps and it'll go on and on. First of all, before we go further, let me be very clear. This is not the Miss USA Donald Trump organization. Right. This is Miss America.
So briefly.
Wait. No, I will tell them.
That's what I'm saying. Briefly.
No, there was so Donald Trump, as you know, like, he's in this huge fuss. And there was press early in the summer that Miss USA was taken off TV. That's not us. So when everybody goes, wait, I thought you were being taken off TV. No, that was Miss USA. Originally, back in the 1920s, when Miss America started, it was a bathing suit beauty contest that was trying to hold over tourists past Labor Day weekend, or up into and beyond Labor Day weekend. That's why Atlantic City created this back in the, early 20th century. And it was a bathing beauty contest, and it was just cities across the U.S. It wasn't states. And then as time prevailed, it moved on. It became a scholarship organization where the prize became a scholarship and all this good stuff. And then I think in the early 50s, and I can't remember, I think it was 50 or 51. I think it was Yolanda Babette's, but she became Miss America. And traditionally, before her, Miss America appeared everywhere that she was hired to do so, in her swimsuit and her crown. And she said, nope, we're a scholarship organization. And, I competed in swimsuit, and that's one of the things that I modeled, but that shouldn't define me. And so she refused to appear in swimsuits, which did not go over well with the famed swimsuit sponsor, Catalina. And so Catalina pulled out and created their own pageant system, which became the Miss USA and Miss Universe system. And that's why they don't have talent. They just do swimsuit, evening gown, and I guess interview. Anyway, but Miss America's always been defined by scholarship and by talent as part of their competition and stuff. So anyway, and they've had talent as far back. It used to be optional, I think, at one point. But I know we had a Miss North Carolina.
It was optional to be talented?
It was optional to compete in that talent portion. It's still optional to be talented.
Well, and from the handful of pageants that I've seen, many people have not opted into talent.
But at any rate, so anyway, so that's the gist there. So I was asked to come back because, I think it's fair to say that Miss America is struggling to be relevant in society today. Pageants in general.
I'm gonna be liberal guy, United States right now.
Okay.
On the other side of the coin. I love watching good-looking girls strut around bikinis.
Right.
It's archaic.
Yeah.
It's
passé.
Objectifying. Yeah.
Well, now look, in some ways it is objectifying, but I know women who work their patooties off to look fantastic. They want to be proud of, what's wrong with that? But it is sometimes the way it's done.
But it takes place in society in 2015, in a time when we're trying to be hyper aware of not objectifying women,
right?
Of
putting them on an equal ground, giving them opportunity that requires them to be more developed than just their physical body. Right.
That their brain.
But I don't think there's anything wrong with the fact that we can be proud of our physical body.
No, but I agree with you. I don't think there's anything wrong with that as well. But there will be many detractors, and I get the argument. You could be, as some women are, built like a Mack truck and have an extraordinarily well-defined physical body that's not going to look as good in a swimsuit as maybe someone who's just malnourished.
Well, I won't even say not looking as good in a swimsuit, but isn't accepted by society as looking as
just
good in a swimsuit.
Doesn't have those traditional Barbie looks that we associate with the pageant thing.
Right.
And I'm going to say it right now. I have a pitch. Because the constant conversation that you've been involved with Miss North Carolina, and now you've gotten a little invested, and I'm not going to blow your cover here. You're a little bit more invested, and you've been asked to
come back in
and talk about reinvigorating the Miss America pageant.
Well, not reinvigorated, but we'll talk about my involvement now. But anyway,
right? But
yes.
but and I think that's all well and good. I think in order for this thing to exist, I love the fact that talent is a part of it. I think that's great. I think every woman has a talent. Is it exclusively, or should it exclusively be music, dance?
A performing talent.
A performing talent? No. I as interested as a viewer, because this all comes down to, is this something that can be shown on television, right?
Sure.
The scholarship aspect of it is great, but you're not going to have that money for scholarship unless it's being broadcast to a wide audience.
And has sponsorship subsequently.
Has considerable amount of sponsorship money. So I think you can have a talent portion that is, sure, you're going to have great singers, and you're going to have, great singers. You're going to have singers. You're going to have
quality singers.
You'll have dancers. But it would be interesting to see someone who does something that, maybe she's an amazing baseball player, softball player. Other people have varying
they have
talents.
had in the past. They didn't get to do it on the national stage, but they have had archery in the past. In fact, I think there was a woman, I want to say she was Kansas a few years ago. I think the rumor was, and she was in the military at the time. So, maybe she was on reserves at the moment, but heavily invested in the military with her career choice. And I think she did archery to win her state pageant or something like that. But then they made her change, and miraculously, she taught herself how to sing opera from YouTube in 6 weeks or something like that. But the novelty was there. She pulled it off well enough. I think she made television, but I think she also had a very articulate interview, and she did have a freaking amazing body because she was an American soldier, and no joke, if you were going to be that, you're in shape. You just have to be. So at any rate, but there's that. But wait.
Yeah.
But there have been other ones. So we have one of my favorite channels on One of my favorite groups on Facebook right now is called Crowned. CROWNED. And this gentleman is the gentleman that supports this. I just reached out to him this week, and I haven't had a chance to talk to him about it. His name's Christopher. But I haven't talked to Christopher yet, but I reached out to him because I think it's great. He has every Miss America back to and on tape, back to, I think he said 1958, if my visual memory is serving correctly. But anyway, you should check it out because he's been putting clusters by genre of talent videos up. And I mean, he's also got some on YouTube. I think is the same gentleman that's doing some on YouTube. But it's pretty incredible because he has these videos of some girl doing karate. I remember this, in the 80s, one girl is walking across broken glass, and she chops cement, she breaks a cement board or whatever. They do all these different things. I don't know. It's just pretty.
Well, that would be, that would be awesome. I wish more of that stuff would return, but, and I think the interview is super important. I also and I'm not the first person to, John Oliver on his show that he does on HBO.
He did challenge it.
That's
right.
Wonderful piece.
I wouldn't say it was necessarily wonderful. You know what? It was eye-opening. I'll tell you what it did. And I actually, so held that thought a second. Yeah, yes. So John Oliver did have this piece where he has a thing against pageants. I think he kind of said he challenges all of them. He's not really a believer in them. And he really challenged Miss America because Miss America claims, and rightly so, it is the largest scholarship foundation for women in the world.
Right.
Period. And so that is there. So what happens now? So I competed in the 90s, early 90s. We were kind of on the tail end of the era of when it was really the golden age of this original American Idol show. Because let's be fair, when Miss America first was on television, it was the only thing that America could watch that was like a reality show, and it was this. Somebody was going to be famous the next day. Now we're so detoxed and we're kind of numb to it because we've got, The Voice, American. I look at the fame of American Idol, but The Voice. So you think you can dance? You got Dancing with the Stars. I mean, you just got all of these things, and then you got American Ninja Warrior. Like, you just got one competition after another of stuff, and that's on the major networks. The cable networks are blowing it up even further. So there's enough there. So Miss America, I think, has struggled to kind of remain relevant and to evolve with the times.
Right.
And I will say this, and I qualify it by saying in the public's eye, because let me tell you right now, and this is what I was kind of pitching the other day, there are women that compete at Miss America every year and have done so since the 20s. But if we talk about from the real era of the 50s, and even though participation has dwindled even in the South, like in the North Carolina pageant, when I was competing, used to have 45, 46 contestants a year. Back in the 60s, there were 100 contestants, one from every county. Now there's roughly between 25 and 35 contestants competing. So it's going down. And I think part of it is the marketing and staying relevant. But I think also it's not giving the best way of saying that we're still relevant. A lot of people still want to pigeonhole us as, oh, they're pageant girls. They aren't really, they're not real people, and they're not really effective. They're just looking for whatever. And that is so untrue. Like when you start listening, and I should point out, so back in Leonard Horn was the CEO, and he started with Kaylani Ray Rafko, who I think was Miss America in 1986, I think. And she was a nurse at the time, and she really established formatively the platform, which is a community service component that we're judged separately on, but it informs who we are. And Miss America encouraged it because it made us great community citizens, which we were all supposed to be. And the whole premise for Miss America at the beginning, when it was like coming from a scholarship foundation, was to create women who were going to be successfully professionals in the American society in whatever you did. And it kind of gave this full version of what a woman of that era, whatever that era was doing and could be. And the scholarship would help propel you to be whatever those dreams were going to be. Blah, blah, blah. So I think today we still have that. I think today, if you started asking around, you find so many people that don't say they were Miss America or competed in a local Miss America competition before the state level and then the national level. We are there though, and we're doing so many different things, and it's pretty amazing. So what they did was they said, we have one woman who wins one night every year, but it is so much more than that. Just for that one person, it's a 365-day job for her for a year. Once you're Miss America, you're always Miss America. So they always have that kind of network. But beyond that, you have 49 or 50, sometimes 51 women, depending on when we've had Puerto Rico and the Virgin Islands compete. We've had them compete in different years. They are certainly eligible now. But, we have girls that don't win and go back home to their states. Some states, it is a year-long job. Very many states in the South, it is a year-long job like Miss North Carolina, but some states aren't. And that's fine. But these women go on and do things, and they're in the community, and they're interviewing well, or they're doing whatever they do well because they got this confidence from doing this pageant program. And it's no different than like a business training.
Yeah, I think the life skills that you are learning and developing in the throes of trying to earn this scholarship, right, are great. And I also think it happens to, against probably common thought, I don't believe the Miss America pageant attracts ignorant women.
No.
They tend to come to the table already very bright.
It was so funny because actually whenever they had that big Republican debate with Fox, about a month ago now, and you had the two levels because, there was the B team that was at like 5 o'clock, and there was the A team at prime time. And a lot of my Miss America and Miss North Carolina sisters, some that competed at the local level in Miss North Carolina, some that competed at the state level and went to Miss America, whatnot. A lot of people were joking around watching that night and commenting about the debate, saying, and even their boyfriends or their fiancés are saying, they didn't answer the question. Why, because these boyfriends have been to enough pageants, they know what they're supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
And a lot of them said, like, these are not any less hard questions that I get in a Miss America competition interview, because that's the type of questions we're asking. We're not quizzing people. And I judged Miss Arkansas this summer. I've judged Miss Virginia in the past and Miss North Carolina in the past. We're not asking questions to stump these girls. We want them to be able to handle themselves in front of the press, but we want them to have personalities and have passions that they want to go out and promote. And it's for us to get to know them. But yes, also that they are articulate and that they are every bit of what they claim on that resume.
Right. And that's super
It's no
important.
different than a politician.
Yeah, which is sad.
Yeah.
But
sad for the politician, good for Miss America.
Good for Miss America. But again, to the early point that I brought up, in order to keep this pageant going, one, I think you got to drop pageant out of it. Probably call it something else. The Miss America Scholarship Parade.
Parade is not working. We do call them. We don't call them. I don't think girls or contestants. I believe they're title holders. There is new nomenclature to kind of, and it's the same, but it's just because folks really are that narrow-minded that you hear something and you can't see beyond that, so you really have to spoon feed them.
Yeah.
So when we do that, it
is
not a pageant. It's not pageant week. It's competition week, and that's true. It's the Miss America scholarship competition.
So I think on top of there being some opening the scope of talent, which would, I think, for pure entertainment.
By the way,
value,
it's not that it's not open. It's that girls just don't bring that.
But girls don't bring it because it's really not in this. Go back to your experience in Miss North Carolina. By and large, that's not what people are coming to the table with, because it's not something that has ever been that other people have really done or has driven a lot of attention to. If someone did something really outside the box that got a lot of great exposure, I think women would absolutely start thinking about, hey, I don't have to, because there are so many women that I've had the extreme displeasure of hearing sing at the pageants who have no business singing. And I'm not saying anything bad about them. There are lovely people in this world
somebody
that
hasn't
sing.
had a lot of exposure, and that's the easiest thing to do to get there.
But they were told, this is what you do.
It's harder to learn an instrument or learn to dance at 27 years old. The easiest thing to do is sing.
You don't sing, you don't dance, you don't play the piano.
Look, they could read a poem. They could recite a monologue.
Reading is not. Hopefully, we're not going to put reading into the category of a talent.
I don't mean
more
reading.
Of a life necessity.
What I'm saying is, you could do an oral interpretation.
An oral interpretation. Well,
or a monologue.
Or a monologue. Yeah, acting would be fine, but even think broader.
We had well, I know that. I mean, look, part of it is an entertainment value, and if you don't have that, go do Miss USA.
Again, that's what
schlep your stuff over there.
You shouldn't have to. But so that's talent. I've said that. I think this goes more to my reference to John Oliver's expose on it than anything else. The questions that they ask, and I don't think it's happening, at least not what I've been exposed to, or I believe what you've been exposed to. It's not happening as much on the state level, but the questions that are asked at the Miss America pageant.
Wait. That question where the girl is like asked to talk about her rock or whatever.
Yeah.
That is Miss USA teen. That is not a Miss America contestant. On his, I think he features her.
He might have featured her, but there have been. It's not the ISIS question did not come up during a Miss America pageant. I think it does. I think it did.
Oh, the Miss Virginia?
Yeah.
When she was asked like what they should do about that and the beheadings and how horrible it is. I thought her answer was pretty good, and he has to actually has to agree with her.
Absolutely. I don't disagree with what her answer is. I disagree with why are we asking women how to solve in this I'm not going to say it as well as John Oliver does. So I'm not going to get into it. But it is a ridiculous question.
Look, it is a ridiculous question, but here's the thing. It's not about exactly what they're being asked, but they're going to be a persona that is representing an entire country, And if she goes to the UN, she might get asked this. So it's how can she handle that type of question with articulation and with knowledge and move on and get out of it. So the next thing we hear is, oh my gosh, she can see Russia from her backyard. We don't want to be that person.
Right. Well,
but do you understand what I'm saying? So
I
look,
know what you're saying.
You're either casted as she's dumb and she doesn't know who ISIS is. Like, what do you want her to say if she gets asked that question? Like, I really think that's inappropriate for me as a young American to be voicing an opinion about that.
No, it's inappropriate. No, not at all. That's fine. And like I said,
but that's why they're asking.
Her answer is stellar. It's a ridiculous question.
That's
like asking someone to prove existence. You don't think you can come up with something a little bit more creative? And granted, these are intense questions that are being expected to answer within, is it 3 minutes?
No, it's 30 seconds.
30 seconds. I mean, it's just preposterous.
Why is that preposterous?
You can't ask someone a solid interview question and get a real good feed on them in 30 seconds. Granted,
yes, you can.
I mean, there are people who can flame out
Trust
in 30
me.
seconds.
I got some folks that I could tag here, and I won't.
But what if? Hey, how about this though? Because honest to goodness, no one's tuning in to the Miss America pageant on whatever network for the interview. They're simply not. But what about this? What if...
Yeah, what would you want to ask them? What's creative in not asking the ISIS question?
No, I would want to ask people very specific questions related to their quote-unquote platform, right?
Well, you don't want it to be all about their platform, because some of these girls adopt a platform for 3 years just so they can chase the crown to be Miss America.
But you'll know that. You'll know whether or not someone's passionate about what they're
so fine.
About.
So their passions in life, one of it being their platform. So let's get back to it. What would you ask them?
Here's what I would do. It has less to do with what I would ask them than in the manner in which they're asked, okay? I would, and this is the world of reality TV, right? For the live television portion of it, right?
Right.
I would, you guys do, it is a full-on week of competition leading up to the final 2 hours, which is the pageant that people know from television. They should have sit down, everyone sits down, has a cup of coffee.
Oh, they used to do that.
One-on-one conversations that are all filmed. And what we can do come the final night, when we already kind of know you're going to have the best
you get the top 10.
You're going to have the top 10. You pick out little sound bites where something really interesting came up and a woman has a really good response in the... That would be... I would have a much better understanding about how intelligent or how well thought out or how well educated they are on their topic than asking someone in front of a crowd for some impossible questions that they have 30 seconds to answer.
Well, I'll tell you, so there are a couple of things I think I would do. Number one, and I will inform you, so in years past, and they don't do this, so there are a couple of things I have to say. First of all, I think Miss America has been reactionary in so many years when they started seeing numbers fall, or, this isn't going as well as planned. America, pop culture is moving here, and, we've had this formula, blah, blah, blah. I think they've been reactionary in years past. I don't think we're doing that now. I think we're building a steady momentum forward now. But I think we've done it in years past where we've been reactionary. We're like, we're going to vote on whether to have swimsuit competition. And this year the girls aren't going to wear any shoes in swimsuit competition. And this year they're good. It's something every year, a reality TV show one year. And, we tried all these different gimmicks for lack of a better word. And I think we one year we got down to only 2 talents. Only the top 2 left got to perform at the very end. And that was like one of the deciding things about the pageant. On the entire night, 2 talents. By the way, this was in the era of American Idol in its first or second season, blowing the doors off of ratings. People were starving for variety talent shows, and Miss America chooses to go in the opposite direction. It just hasn't caught up. But wait. So I think they're finally doing that, and in years past. So that's one thing. And I think because of that, some years we don't have the same format. In format years past, and I don't even think it wasn't ABC at the time, and I'm not even sure who was the production network at the time, or who was producing it, what have you. But they would pull snippets out from the actual interview with the judges, the preliminary interview, and they would show that in a box in the corner where you would hear the girl get to talk about a couple of things, either while she's modeling, I don't know, or whatever they're telling about her.
That's terrible.
Why?
So what you're saying is why? So what you're
just said you wanted this one-on-one coffee
but you're
thing.
saying that they're doing it and it's in the upper left-hand corner while she's modeling something, which all that says to the audience is, yeah, she's got some things to say, but look how good she looks.
Okay,
in this
fine.
wear.
So then they pull it out and they show it ahead of time, and it's on the huge
just
screen.
Let me get to know who this woman is.
Yeah. Well, that's what it's supposed to be when you get to ask them a question. Here was my thing, and I've seen. So Arkansas, when I judged Miss Arkansas this summer, they did a great thing at the state level. They had other former contestants, and they might have won Miss Arkansas or they might not have. They might not have done squat at Miss Arkansas, but they used their scholarship and they went out, and they're incredible women in the community. I mean, one woman is a pilot and in a flight school, I think. Other women are working in the state legislature. Another woman is an attorney. You know, they're doing all these different things. They actually asked questions that had been videotaped and then asked the particular, top, and it was only the top 10 that night. So you do something like that, and I don't think it should just be former Miss Americas. I think you get women in the pageant because they know the type of woman that should follow in their follow the footsteps, of this heritage, or better yet, do it along the lines that they did. Wasn't this the Republican debate that we watched and they had Facebook questions? Now, granted, they're curated ahead of time, but you create a group on Facebook that people can go in and videotape a question. So you make sure it's appropriate. You make sure it's not something gross or whatever. And you curate these questions and you let the American public, not the judges, fix questions, allow the American public to ask meaningful questions. Because I guarantee you the American public is not going to ask her about ISIS. They're going to say,
they're also not going to ask her about her platform.
They might. You don't know. Like, look, they might say, why should I care about Miss America these days? What makes you better? Like, that's something that's important. And by the way, that's an open enough for a very smart woman who you want in the shoes of Miss America. That is an open door to push your platform and take that question wherever you want to go. And that's the whole point of an interview. You drive the interview, not the interviewer.
Right. And I think all of that is well and good behind the scenes. But what's being shown on the air is not that. It's like gunfight at the OK Corral. And
I don't think so.
There are some people who are going to manage it and get something quasi-eloquent out in 30 seconds. But most people are just going to say these kind of campy little sound bites, because what else are you going to say in 30 freaking seconds? So anyway, so that's, and then the last thing is,
clearly you've never been a Miss American contestant, because real good Miss American contestants.
Never been asked. But I'd do it. I look good in evening gear.
Evening gear. I have to tell you that G is not for gear, my dear. EG is not short for evening gear. Anyway.
But and then the last section is, and I would personally hate to see it go, but I totally understand it going in 2015, is parading around these women in their bathing suits. And especially under the guise of, this is to promote
physical fitness. Yes, it is.
But you're not showing me that they're physically fit. What you're showing is that they're not fat. They're skinny. They look like Barbie. They're well proportioned.
I got to tell you, the girls now are not skinny. They are fit and buff.
Okay,
I mean, you did go through that. What you and I had this argument the other day, because you don't agree with the phrase skinny fat. But it's not these waifishly thin girls that have no muscle tone. These girls are working out.
They're not French models. They're more traditional women who are working very hard to look great in bathing suit.
Or to make look. To give you an example. Let me give you an example. And this is for me. Personal example.
Okay.
Grew up in the South. Grew up on great tasting food and biscuits and all that good stuff. And I was somewhat active as a kid, but I was kind of plump. Mm-hmm. I was a cheerleader, but I was not one of the, physically fit girls. And then I went to college and I, gained 15 pounds because no one stopped me from eating a box of Swiss cake rolls when I really wanted some. And one clearly wasn't enough. I gorged myself. I'll never forget that. That was the low point in my eating career. Anyway, but the point is, like, pageants and because I love food, pageants got me exercising, and I found really great guidance on how to have a healthy lifestyle because I was petrified of getting up in front of people in a swimsuit and high heels because I wasn't tan and I had never been that body and I had never been that person. And by the time I got to Miss America, I had a lifestyle. It wasn't just binge dieting and working out for 6 months before a pageant. Like, I got myself in shape, and then I stayed that way. Hang on. I stayed that way until I had kids, and then it's all gone downhill since then. But I mean, I have tried to do that, and I still to this day, like you and I were talking about something the other day, and I pulled out a package of yogurt, and while it looks delicious, I said, Bob, too many fat grams. You're like, huh? But it's yogurt. And I said, no, you have to. I learned all of that healthy eating and proportion control and the right things you put in your body through doing a pageant, through doing Miss America. And by the way, I was not particularly athletic, and I couldn't do chin-ups or like, so if you put me through American Ninja for the fitness portion of competition instead of swimsuit, which is kind of a cool idea.
Right.
I
My
mean,
idea.
Yeah, but that's just one step away from mud wrestling or wet T-shirt
No, it's not.
contest.
You're not asking them two women to go at it together, which
Well,
I would, again, not be opposed
I'm teasing.
to.
I know. But what I'm saying is, look, not every girl can do that.
Right. But that's okay.
No, that doesn't mean she doesn't have the stamina or doesn't take care of her body and is physically fit. But she may not have strength.
If it's a competition...
But then you're doing a competition about chin-ups and stuff. It's not about that.
That would be the physical fitness part of the competition.
Being physically fit doesn't mean you're the strongest or you can run fast.
Then then that goes to my question. How can you judge
You put them in a
fitness
swimsuit.
by just looking at their body?
Put them in exercise.
By just looking at their body.
Come on.
Just looking at their body.
Come on.
That's
Yes, you can.
You're not helping the cause. I'm telling you, you're not helping the cause. Make them compete. Look, you're going to have someone.
I can't
completely
do
agree with
that.
you. You're going to have someone who is not going to do as well in some physical challenge, though I believe that is the best way to handle the physical fitness aspect of it. But maybe they shouldn't. Maybe they're just going to be a really strong talent and really strong interview. But maybe there's going to be someone else who does all three things really well, right?
But that shouldn't be something that's just, look, to do the job, she's not going to go out and like compete in the Olympics. I would grant you if she had to be that athletic.
No, but is she going to go around being an underwear model?
No.
Then why not let it be actual physical fitness?
Look, I think we have to table this is that at some point you have to find something that the majority agrees upon exhibits.
Well, here
exhibits physical fitness.
This is how
However,
adamant I am about
hang on, but look at the job. Look at what she's doing for her job for the year.
Yeah.
Okay. She just needs the stamina and the endurance to be able to go on the road for a year. Imagine being out on tour again for a year.
Yeah.
And doing one-nighters. That's what Miss America does.
Okay, again, so then we're not really challenging stamina because that's not, if you're in your 20s.
You absolutely do need endurance and stamina for what she does.
But I don't know how you can continue to have that be a part. And again, I'm shooting myself in the foot because it's absolutely the only reason I would really tune in anyway is to see great looking women, right? And then there's that sort of terrible thing where great looking women and I'm going to judge them and I want to see them do stupid things, right? Because that's sort of, we all kind of get off on that, which is terrible.
I got to tell you, at a swimsuit competition, I became so much more confident. I actually loved my body. I actually felt feminine. I actually felt sexy. And it's different in evening gown, which you feel elegant and feminine, but in different ways. But it kind of let me empower my femininity. And that's one of the reasons I enjoyed it, because I don't think I ever would have found it. And if I had gone particularly athletic in something, I would have felt more like a tomboy, and I never would have gotten in touch with that femininity. So,
well, and
I tend to disagree.
I totally appreciate the femininity, but we did this story last week where we talked about the sorority in Alabama, and one of the things they were criticized for was being hyper feminine.
Yeah, because they're trying to attract women with this hyper feminine thing. When you're at Miss America, and by the way, that's all that sorority did in that entire video. Swimsuit and that whole portion is one of 4 things, by the way, number 1, and it's the tiniest percentage.
It's the tiniest percentage in the, however it's calculated. It is not the tiniest percentage for people to show up to watch the thing. It's not. It's number 1. If you were to ask any guy.
So what if
you were to ask any guy, so what Miss America pageant, what happens when you watch it? The only thing they're going to say is bathing suit. You're never going to have anyone say, well, the talent. I'm there to see.
Wait, how much time do we have left? We got any time left?
We're running super long, but yeah, okay. We can talk.
Wait, because this kind of goes into my next thing that I wanted to talk about. But before I finish, because I do see the John Oliver thumbnail up for his video interview. So I do want to just point out that we talked... So, golly, we've gotten so far behind. The Miss America organization reached out to me and other Miss America former state title holders, okay? So they've created the Miss America State Title Holders Association, or MASTA for short, and I will now use that so I don't ever have to say that long phrase again on the podcast. So MASTA, they've asked us to come on as ambassadors that will represent all of the former state title holders, and eventually we'll galvanize and do them. But one is to kind of go out there and, first, think of new ways that we can be a part of this message, right, and kind of share the broader message of it's not about one night, one girl. It's about the face of Miss America, right, that we're all kind of that facet, and there's just one girl picked to represent us for the year.
So wait a minute.
But wait, we're not done yet.
Is this an unofficial invitation for me for this group?
No, you have to be a former state title holder.
I think married to one.
Not the same.
But it's pretty close.
It's close, so you can
I'm a little bit removed enough that I can be a little judgy about it. I would be really good in the room.
So basically, you'll be my +1 at master receptions.
Yes, but I would like the things that I say to count for both of us.
No, but they will have influence. I'll make sure to talk about them and point out what we definitely should not do. But okay, so at any rate, we talked about this at our MASTA inaugural event on August 15th when they announced this new group and these ambassadors, of which I'm one of, and I'm really privileged because I think we have an opportunity to give back in ways that Miss America made us. I mean, we're successful women in all these different areas, and we are proud of it, and some of us have had to hide it. Like I used to have to bury it in my performance resume or not call it out at all because people think, well, she must not be able to act if she's a pageant girl. She might be able to sing, but
no, there's absolutely a stigma.
And there was a stigma with it for a long time, and now that stigma is going away in some areas. Like musical theater doesn't have that anymore. Acting, movies and television doesn't necessarily have that anymore. We don't have it in the news journalism world when you've got Gretchen Carlson and Robin Meade and Virginia Cha. I mean, it goes on and on.
But
Debbie Turner.
Do they all exclusively work for Fox?
No, they do not.
Oh, well.
Oh, there you go. Or Blonde, so it's fine.
Yeah,
but look, what I'm saying is, please, come on. So the point is, like, we're out there and we're doing these different things, but it is a stigma in other places, and women have to hide it for a while, and then they start bubbling it back up when they can finally talk about it. But what was interesting is they were talking about the John Oliver piece, and I said, actually, and some women were saying, like, I feel like that was really detrimental. That was one of our low points. I'm like, I thought it was the best thing that could have happened to us because it allowed us to open the door and talk about it. And at the end, I mean, he has challenged the way the scholarship monies total, like I think they said at that time, $45 million a year annually or whatever available.
Yeah.
And it has given us the opportunity, and there was just a press release to talk about how Miss America accounts for their scholarship dollars. But it's also going to, the way I understand it, help us streamline so that all the state organizations are inspired to really map out in a clear and transparent way all these dollars, and they are there. I mean, when I was in Arkansas, they gave away around $87,000 in cash that night to the 46 women on stage. So that's a pretty nice chunk of change. I think Miss Arkansas herself won $20,000. Then on top of that, in the program book, they've got these in-kind scholarships. And so, I mean, Miss Arkansas is not going to go to all of the schools, but she had like 4 or 5 different in-state schools where she either got 4 years or 2 years or, something. And that's incredible. And that total was like $131,000 possible $131,000 in possible scholarships total for that year. That is incredible. And that's one great state. And granted, it's probably one of the more successful states doing that. We have probably 2 or 3 now instead of 8 or 10 that are giving that on that level. I think North Carolina's scholarship is $12,000. So, you've got that. And your ones with got smaller, but they do have a benchmark low mark of like bare minimum you can give for some of our smaller states. And probably, look, Delaware doesn't got a lot of colleges, but, might not have the sponsorship, might not be a full-time job like it is in these southern states. But my point is, Oliver gave us the window of opportunity, and it couldn't have happened because of the type of audience he attracts. It's a younger audience. It's given us a platform and a megaphone to say, by the way, John Oliver, you're right, because you did have to conclude at the end that while it may seem curious to you and you really wanted to find more of a smoking gun, you didn't find one because we are the largest scholarship organization. But thank you so much because you've given us a great opportunity to come out and explain with full clarity the exact dollars we're giving every year or that are on the table for a girl to take advantage of.
Right. I mean, look, at the end of it, I think the piece is, granted, I come at it from a very different point of view, but I think the piece that he did was fantastic. I think the criticism that he ends with towards the end about how the scholarship money, look, it's an advertising goosing of the money. They're talking, how much money.
It doesn't have to be, but
it doesn't have to. But it's.
But you're right.
It's a flashier number to show. Yeah, this is what is available. But in reality, they can't get that much because that's.
Well, no. Right.
Watch the video. I'll post the video. You can check it out yourself.
As a state title holder, if she won from every school, she could defer and say, I'm going to go here for 4 years and then there for graduate school for 2. I think that's possible. You'd have to look at what I think the problem is, and he's right to point it out, and it's right because it corrects the ship of any level competition who says, we got a $5,000 scholarship from State University, State X University, and we have 20 contestants. So we're multiplying that $5,000 by all 20, and we're going to say that's $100,000 of our total scholarship dollars we're offering this year. No, only one girl wins that, so you can only count $5,000. You can't multiply it by the opportunity that all 20 have.
That's what was happening.
And that's what is happening in some states, and not at the Miss America level either. But they are fixing it. And if they were doing it erroneously, it is being corrected.
It's fine. Look, I don't think there was any pageant winner who, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't believe there's been any pageant winner who has received the scholarship that they were promised who felt like they were cheated because they heard about more. I think the numbers, the quasi-exaggerated numbers, sound great when you're listening to it from afar. But the reality of it is, and he says,
and it is to attract girls to come to the scholarship.
Of course, and it's a huge number. But reality of it is still, at the end of the day, it is a great scholarship program. It is still the largest program of scholarship for women, specifically
across
for women.
A myriad of different disciplines.
So
now Miss America is giving STEM scholarships. They're giving all sorts of different kinds of scholarships, so you don't just have to be talented. And I think at the end of the day, the real takeaway is most of us are graduating debt-free, while a lot of America is sitting in college debt.
That's true. I'm actually starting my own pageant.
For your own scholarship debt.
For my own scholarship debt.
I mean, your own college debt.
Yeah.
I mean, look, I walked away after grad school. I owed $6,000. $6,000. And I had it paid off my first year.
And I think all of this goes to a point, which is this. because you know, I think Oliver's take towards the end of the piece was it's kind of because of some of the archaic aspects of the pageant itself, and I say pageant in quotes, right? It's kind of a shame that it is the largest scholarship for women, that there should be other scholarships for women that don't require you to walk around in a bathing suit or some of these other kind of, it's archaic, it's
interestingly
old.
enough, because of MASTA,
right,
which is supporting the Miss America Foundation, which is in partnership with the Miss America organization. One of our goals to work on is ancillary scholarships, which are scholarships that will be made available that are not based on competition. So it won't be like, you know, the preliminary interview award or a preliminary talent award scholarship or being in the top 10. Actually, you don't even have to ever have been a Miss America contestant if we have our, you know, pie in the sky dream, right. Because what we'd love to be able to say, and we'll have to figure out, you know, what the rubric is to qualify. We would love to be able to say, you know, hey, you know, a rising freshman studying engineering at Georgia Tech received a letter from the Miss America Scholarship Foundation that they qualified, and you know, Miss America is giving them however much money, $1,000 toward their scholarship, as long as they pursue and keep up their grades as they pursue engineering or computer science. That's what we want to do. And I mean, so that is coming, and that's an evolution that, yes, should be happening. Now, look, I got to tell you, you know, you can say it's archaic, and Oliver can say it's archaic, that it's a pageant. People flock to The Bachelor. People flock to those shows.
But that's not. But that's not a great example because they're terrible.
But my point is, that you're right.
Do people
it's
go
a terrible,
to them? Sure.
But it's a terrible example. But I think kind of what I'm saying is, one, Miss America needs to not be stupid. No one's going to come and want to see a bunch of people interviewed unless Donald Trump's one of the candidates in the room.
I disagree. I think you can do it. I think you can change.
I think you can do it in a lot of classy ways.
I think you can change it. I think you can. And I hear, and this is kind of my closing point on it, is that I think the Miss America pageant owes it, or the Miss America scholarship, because I don't like that word pageant, owes it to the organization, owes it to the young women of America to step up and get contemporary, fix the things that need to be fixed, because you do help a lot of women achieve goals and dreams that they would not otherwise have the ability to do.
That's right, and they don't have to be an athlete to do it.
They drag their feet and stick in the mud, and we're going to be this bathing suit show, and we're going to do the tried and true that we've been to do for 50 years. It'll go away.
But I got to say, in one last rebuttal, all those things are the things that still make up women in America. We want to be known for education. We want to be known for being physically beautiful. We want to be known for our style. We want to be known for service. We want to be known for talent. And why can't we be all those things and be recognized for it?
You can be. It's not that you can't be. It's the matter in which it's displayed. It's just the matter in which it's displayed. You can't in 2015.
Well, I tell you what, I will introduce you to Dick Clark Productions, and y'all can start talking.
That'd be me and Ryan Seacrest?
I don't think Ryan's going to be involved.
I would be happy. I could fix this whole thing, and I could make a very entertaining program.
I would be mortified if you fixed
my husband
the whole
did.
program.
So my husband did the final Miss America pageant.
So Bob decided to fix it, and that was the year Miss America.
Because I honestly, in my heart of hearts, I truly believe that you can make a Miss America pageant show, because that's the big key aspect.
It's a really big shoe.
Is that you're doing a 2-hour show that's on a major network that's watched by a bunch of people. I believe that you can make one that is entertaining, that will get the masses there, and can still be contemporary enough that people won't feel bad about themselves the next day, or feel bad that they're watching it.
Well, you may feel bad that you're watching it. The contestants don't feel bad that they're up there. I got news for you, dude.
I I don't. That's not my point. My point being, it just needs to get with the times.
Yeah. Hang on. Let's bring Jackson in. I have someone want to ask him. So, no? Okay. So we've got Jackson in the room now. And Jackson, I haven't really plopped too much around the house. I don't parade around in my crown and talk about
anymore.
My pageant days. But Jackson knows a little bit about my pageant days, and probably that started when he was age 5 and we were getting ready for the 75th anniversary in Miss North Carolina, and we had a bunch of gowns at a museum, and Mom helped with that installation, and Jackson came in and helped. And he's seen a few things over time, but he's seeing a little bit more now. And so I think last year he watched a little bit of the Miss America competition with me on television. He didn't stay around for the full time. I think he did stay around for the end. But anyway, so Jackson, I would like to know from your 8-year-old perspective, what do you think are the most important things that a contestant should exhibit or compete in? Like, what are the categories they should compete in to be a good Miss America?
What do you mean? What do you mean?
Well, like in the past, they have done interview and talent. But Miss America, her job is to go around for the year and visit in schools and talk about things that she cares about and community service. Sometimes she's at award shows. Sometimes she might entertain or ride in a parade. She does a lot of different things, but she also promotes a lot of good causes and things she cares about. So in order to get that job, what do you think the skills you need to have to get that job of Miss America and get to wear the crown?
Probably good talent.
What's a good talent?
Like singing or musical instruments.
Uh-huh.
And probably
that's it.
Probably looking good in dresses.
Looking good in dresses, great.
Outfits. I think that's mostly it.
That's pretty much it. If you can sing and look good in a dress, it's done, nailed. You're good. What about if the interview, we talked about this, the interview is part of the competition. So if you had to interview a woman who was trying to win the pageant, what question would you ask her?
I don't really know. I don't know.
You don't have any question that you would ask a Miss America pageant contestant? What? Well, she's going to be Miss America.
How did you do?
How did you do with what?
How did you do with? How did you get to? Did you get to be Miss America?
Well, she's not Miss America yet. She's trying to be Miss America. But is there a problem you think she might be able to solve?
No.
No.
But I would ask her what's her favorite ice cream flavor.
What her favorite ice cream flavor is. All right, put that in the book. Take that to Master.
And is one more, if it was one flavor went out, like if she said... So if one flavor was mentioned more than others, would you give her more points if she said one flavor over others?
Yeah, are you favoritism towards a particular flavor?
Yes.
No. Well,
mint chocolate chip.
I wouldn't count it.
Oh, he would be impartial. You'd be impartial. You wouldn't count it.
That's right.
Yes.
All right, so here's the thing.
And then finally, should she wear her crown all the time?
No.
Because it'd be ridiculous.
I mean, if you wanted to take a shower and wear your crown.
It's too much.
So anytime she's not getting wet?
No, anytime's personal.
Okay, so only in your professional time should you wear your crown.
When you're performing for a pageant or something, you should wear the crown. Any other time, take it off.
Yeah, because you're just being a show off.
Yeah, and it's probably so personal, like cooking dinner or picking up your child from baseball. That's not a good time to wear the crown.
No, you're embarrassing. You're embarrassing your son with your crown.
And Jackson has actually asked the current Miss North Carolina what her favorite ice cream flavor was.
You did, and what did she say?
I have no idea. She didn't tell me.
She did. I have to go back and look it up. I think mint chocolate chip was one of her favorites. But I have to go back and look and see what else she told me. It's in my Facebook feed from that day.
All right. Very, very good. Well, this has been an extra long, extra special episode of...
So we'll be in Atlantic City next week. We're going to try to come to you there. Hopefully we'll get something in.
Next week, we're going to try to do a live hangout, and I'll try to get the information up on the website if people want to tune in live and maybe ask a question of you or maybe some of the other pageant women that are down there. But yeah, we'll do a little bi-coastal action.
Until that time, Jen's going to try to get her act in gear. There's no more pressure like them saying, hey, we want you on stage again and wearing a long dress. And you say, oh, crap. And I don't have a long dress. And now I need to look good again. And I've known about this, but I've been like putting it off. And now that it's here, I'm having the old nightmares of getting to Miss America and not having anything to wear.
You're going to look... I saw the dress last night. You look great. You're going to be stunning down there.
Well, and by the way, this is just a backup because hopefully I think we have a special sponsor that might come in. And we'll feature them next week if that comes through.
You'll look great. You're singing on what night?
I'm singing, not at night. So Friday, September 11th. There is no competition that day. And so they've got a couple events going on, but one of the really important ones that we're going to do is a 9/11 tribute concert for families.
And you were asked to sing.
I was asked to sing. I think we have like 10 to 12 former contestants and former Miss Americas, mostly former Miss Americas. It's going to be hosted by our current Miss America, Kira Costanza, and former Miss America, Phyllis George.
Nice.
So they will be our MCs for that event. It's at the Claridge Hotel. I think lunch is at 12. And then at 1:30, we will move to the theater at the Claridge Hotel. And from 1:30 to 3, we'll have this very lovely concert to honor the families and those that have fought for us on 9/11 and beyond. And all proceeds go to the Miss America organization. It is tax deductible. And I think the whole lunch and a show ticket is $75. And you can find all the information at missamerica.org.
Missamerica.org, and I will put a link on our blog for that as well. That's all fantastic stuff. I want you to have a safe journey out there, although you'll be here for a couple more days. And then we'll do a live show. That'll be a lot of fun.
Hopefully.
So that's it for this week's program. I don't really have anything to plug. But what are we looking at?
I got to look at the clock. I got to get to a play date. We're late.
Oh, it's late for a play date, as always.
And
all right.
We're out.
Listen, if you like the show, please show your love. Get onto iTunes and give us a positive review. That's great. Like us on Facebook.
Share it with your friends.
That's the only way this stuff is going to work out. Otherwise... That's it from all of us to all of you. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.